Hello, welcome everyone. We're excited to have you all join us today for our info session on the creative industries and AI challenge, focusing on books, music, film, and television with Bertelsmann and our team at NYC Media Lab. So thank you all for being here. We're excited to give you a rundown of what we're working on and what we have in store for you this fall, how the application process works, and then to take your questions. If you want to say hello in the chat, maybe where you're coming from geographically, if there's a particular industry you're focused on, we're always curious to sort of see those things. So feel free to get in the chat and say hello. And we will get started. So quickly, let me give a little, it's going to be a pretty straightforward session today. We'll just start with the intros from our team here. Get into a quick background on NYC Media Lab. Then we'll go into background on Bertelsmann and the creative industries and challenge itself, and then do Q&A. And if you haven't already, this is sort of a key link for you all here, this bit.ly/creative AI 2023. That'll take you to our landing page with all the info about the challenge, link to the application, which is sort of the front and center target right now, and all that other good stuff, as well as how to get in touch with us with questions and all those things. So let's take a quick moment to say hello. I'm Matt McVeigh, by the way. I'm a project and community lead at NYC Media Lab, and let's go to Robert, Aubrey, and Freddie to say hello quickly, and then we will keep moving. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Robert Clauser. I'm the Director of Programs and Partnerships here at the New York City Media Lab, and have the pleasure of working with such lovely people as Freddie and Bertelsmann over the past few years on a number of different topics. Last year's being a similar challenge around NFTs and blockchain. This year, though, looking more broadly as the excitement around AI has built. So adding to the fun list of projects that we've been working on at the Media Lab, from AI and local news, more journalism, to one we're currently underway with AI and music with ASCAP, to one of my favorites based on both our partnership here with Bertelsmann and Freddie, and the depth of information that this gentleman and his colleagues will provide and connect you to, but also on the breadth of the challenge. Really, where are the various different forms of oral, visual, et cetera, AI going to lead all these really wonderful industries, internally and externally? And we look forward to working with you to answer some of those questions in the coming months. Aubrey.
Yes. Hello, I'm Aubrey Hayes. I'm a director at the NYC Media Lab, and I work pretty much in tandem with Robert on all programming and partnership and helping kind of make the NYC Media Lab the awesome entity that it is, and connecting us with universities and industry partners. I'll get into a little more of that in a minute, but want to introduce Freddie as well, who's coming from the Bertelsmann side, to just say a quick hello.
Hi, greetings, everybody. So I'm Freddie, and I'm the sponsor working in tandem with the great people from New York City Media Lab, where these challenges are a great opportunity for us. For what I like to do is bring outside energy into the organization. And I think what we've learned from the past two challenges, it's just really great things and really great relationships can happen when we bring in all the folks from our music groups, from our television groups, from our strategy groups, and many, many more, and book publishing as well, to see what are some of the thoughts out there. And I think it's a good opportunity for cross collaboration. It's a good opportunity for learning. And we're excited to see what type of groups apply to the challenge this year, and then getting started in the near future.
Wonderful. Thanks, everyone. And glad to have you here, Freddie. And thanks, everyone, for saying hi in the chat. Keep that going if you want. And, we'll have a lot of time for Q&A at the end, but if there is something that you want a clarification on as we go, feel free to throw that in the chat as well, and we'll address things, or, you know, if it's something we're about to get to in a forthcoming slide, let you know, and all those good things. So thank you. Okay, so up first, I'm going to turn it over to Aubrey to give us a background on NYC Media Lab.
All right. So as I said, we're the NYC Media Lab. We're housed at Tandon, and we are dedicated to driving innovation and job growth in media and technology. As I mentioned before, by fostering these collaborations with New York City universities and our industry partners and companies, meaning the lab intends to amplify media innovation, build these pipelines between companies and academia, and also just have a lot of fun. That's really important to us. So currently in the mix are partners that we're running projects, challenges, what have you with, that you're going to learn about in a second, are ASCAP, Bertelsmann, Chanel Consumer Reports, the Knight Foundation, and Verizon. And as Matt mentioned in the link before, you can go to our landing page and kind of find out in depth about these projects. But also as a partner, you come in and you kind of have access, first-hand access to all these amazing students and research and faculty who are driving innovation and entrepreneurship as well as talent development at Tandon and NYU at large. You have the opportunity to basically do something with them, and we kind of help administer that. Some of our programming includes a lot of roundtable discussions, keynotes, academic conversations, and then we are currently housed at Tandon at the Yard, which is a really awesome facility with a state-of-the-art mocap and vocap facility. So there's a lot of play happening, and we kind of invite you to come and check it out at the Navy Yard. So currently we have 4 programs kind of running. We've had a longstanding relationship with Verizon, the 5G EdTech Museum Initiative, a nationwide call for museums and science centers, cultural institutions alike to create content for the Verizon Innovative Learning HQ portal for educators to access. So that's still going on. We also have the ASCAP, which is also an ongoing relationship in our second challenge of 2023, ASCAP Music and AI, where we are continuing to create cutting-edge concepts at the intersection of music and artificial intelligence. And then last year, we did a challenge with Bertelsmann around NFTs and blockchain in the music, book publishing, and TV industry. So we are doing a lot, and we're excited to kind of enter this new phase with Bertelsmann and kind of ending up to the next challenge. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to you, Matt, so we can kind of dive in.
Wonderful. Thank you, Aubrey. All right, let's click to the next. Yeah, and if you want any follow-up info, definitely feel free to reach out, and there's a bunch of different ways to connect with us here. All right, so let's get into our NYC Media Lab Bertelsmann Challenge for 2023. I'll give a quick background on our great partner, Bertelsmann here. This info is on our site too, and there's a lot you can dig into. As you can tell, they are a company that touches a lot of different industries and geographies, operating in more than 50 countries around the world, and working through entertainment, book publishing, music, marketing, education, and investments. And, you know, it's a company with more than 150,000 employees worldwide. So it's a partner with a lot of resources and a lot of different exciting creative work underway. And we're really excited to be able to tap into that as part of this challenge. In particular, there are 3 sort of groups and 3 angles on the creative industries that we're working out on with the Creative Industries Challenge, and that's BMG, Penguin Random House, and Fremantle Media. Overview of the challenge: it runs in fall 2023. It's open to university and startup teams. For this challenge in particular, we're focused on teams and projects that are already established and have prototypes underway. That's sort of our priority in the selection process. We'll talk more about that in a few minutes. Teams learn from Bertelsmann experts and receive mentorship as part of the program, as well as working with the cohort of teams and getting support from our team at NYC Media Lab and other resources at NYU Tandon and NYU more broadly. And the key date, well, one thing, it's a remote program, so this is open to people from different parts of the country and world to come and work together, although we are, based in New York City and in that sense based around the Eastern time zone, somewhat primarily, although some meetings may be set up with people who are in Europe and other places as well. And the key date for you all now to look at is the application deadline at the end of the day on September 26th, 2023. And we'll talk more about what's involved in the application as well. So for this challenge, we're really focused on AI and the opportunities that creates for content creators, audiences, and businesses in the content industry. And particularly, again, looking at Fremantle, Penguin Random House, and Bertelsmann. So looking at, digital content related to those three companies. And for projects, we're really open to a lot of different applications and tools that might fit into a lot of different parts of the content creation, audience connection pipeline. A few examples to get you started. This could be back-end processes and infrastructure. So all the important things happening behind the scenes. It could be helping music creators to complement and augment their creative process. It could be creating an experience for fans, directly or indirectly, and creating value for the copyright holders. And this is something that could be applied for publishing as well, or for video too. For the structure of the program, there's weekly cohort meetings and or mentor sessions, meeting via video conference, as we mentioned. We're aiming to kick off the week of October 9th, and at the end of the program, we'll wrap up with presentations and a demo day. And the program will last approximately 8 weeks. There may be a little more sort of tacked on to that with our demo day and wrap up, but it'll be basically the duration of the fall through the end of this year. So there's a little, we may tweak some of those dates as we go, but that's the overall structure to get us started. Big part of this program is mentorship. So teams connect with the Bertelsmann mentors and others, as well as the digital investment arms. And on the presentation prep side, you'll receive support from our team here at NYC Media Lab, as well as all the other mentors you're working with.
Let me just jump in there with Matt.
Yeah.
That this is one of the most exciting components of the program, the mentorship. We have a really wonderful relationship, thanks to Freddie, with the various different operating companies, as we pointed out, BMG Music, Random Penguin, and Fremantle Television, as well as the diaspora of the other Bertelsmann companies. Their executives take great pride in participating and also put a lot of effort into it. You'll see some very interesting people coming into and consistently being through the various different sessions. Notably also, one of the huge benefits to this program is the individual one-on-one connections that are made between the group here and the various different Bertelsmann executives. So it's something that is completely unique if you're in other accelerators or if you're in other challenges like this. It's also something that's extremely special. So we're excited to be partnering this way and really see such tremendous value coming out of this mentoring relationship. Back to you, Matt.
Sure. Thank you, Robert. So we're looking for teams that are working with sort of applied AI. So not teams that are doing primarily sort of research around the technology. And we're looking for pilots that can be applied to Fremantle TV, Penguin Random House, and or BMG. It doesn't have to be that your tool would exclusively be for applications in TV, publishing, and music, but we want you all to be thinking in and focusing on those applications as part of this program. And we're looking for teams that are at the stage where they're ready for that executive feedback.
And as I pointed out,
yeah, go ahead.
In particular, that it's the creative industries are both the creation component of it as well as the enablement of it. Some of our past challenges have been really involved with the back office, so to speak, or the interaction or the like, be it supporting legal, supporting marketing and advertising, supporting the ideation, et cetera. Others are very front and center, true generative AI, true thought creation, true enhancement of both an audience experience and or the creator experience. So if you're on any side of the equation, please feel free, or if you're still interested by the time we're done today, to apply, as we're looking for any sort of combination that could be really valuable for how these industries are starting to have these conversations going forward.
And Robert, maybe I'll just add something onto that, because I think, you know, it's trying to deal with some of the challenges that we face as a creative organization. So let's give you a simple one that I know we face as an organization, is dealing with rights management and perhaps using ChatGPT to come up with solutions, where we know there's lots of efficiencies that can be gained by using ChatGPT, but we can't legally afford to put all our copyright in there. You know, so we have created some private white label, if you will, on our internal networks to use it safely, but trying to think of things that these are the solutions that we're trying to deal with, you know, or there could be other areas where we're dealing with payments, we're dealing with contracts, we're dealing with repetitious processes, you know. So I think there's the combination of the creative content, but then how do we also support these creative businesses and further exploit? Or maybe there's something to do with translations. Maybe there's some benefits there because we operate in 50 different countries around the world. So I think there's a lot of different possibilities here. And this is the type of energy we saw from the previous challenge, where when you put a bunch of people in a room that are smart and have some good ideas and the creativity just spawns and we make these connections, we can come up with some really great solutions.
Great. Thank you, Freddie. And we're excited to work with you all to do just that. Let's see. Okay, so on the application for a moment, there's sort of a lot of info just we'll want about team and team members, but here's kind of the key questions that we're looking for. So one is your project concept. Two is which industry or industries does your project address, music, publishing, film, or TV? How does your project contribute to exploring new use cases of AI? What technology is part of your project, and what's your tech stack, basically? Why do you want to take part in this program, and how does this fit in with your trajectory as a team? And how is your team uniquely qualified to approach this challenge? So what's going on with your team? What's the experience and direction that your team brings that that is going to make you a good match for this program. A few other details for the application and for the program in general. We're looking for teams between 2 to 5 people. We've found that that's sort of a nice size to work with week to week and to actually focus and sort of get something done over the course of these programs. So that doesn't mean that, if you're coming from a startup that's 15 people, you don't qualify. But what we want you to do is say, okay, this is the smaller group of people from our startup that are going to be the consistent participants in this program and are really going to be focused on this. So think about what that team would be for your project. And another important detail is we don't take equity or a stake in any participating companies or any ownership of IP developed during the challenge. Application advice, clearly articulate your company and product. We want a really focused description. We want to be able to just flip through your application and kind of understand what you're about in a concise way. We want to get a sense of what you're focused on working on during this program, and we want to understand that application to whatever creative industries you're looking at from the Bertelsmann portfolio.
Even though we're asking you for this to be in writing, as you'll see the application if you click through to the bit.ly link, we're all visual people. So think about this visually, like what's the story you're telling and how are you getting us somewhere through this? And those are the applications that tend to resonate. That's because we understand the problem that you're trying to solve, particularly if it's something you face personally or you have been involved with somewhere. And notably, what your counterparty, the person you're trying to solve this problem for, or the idea you're trying to create for, be it an audience, an internal person, et cetera, what they're seeing, what they're feeling, what their experience. For lack of better words, sometimes when you find some other startup that has that little demo video, which is how I go through these sorts of things, if you can think about that in the way that you're describing how your product or your service or your solution in general is addressing the underlying question around, again, AI that we're looking at, that's super helpful. And that will really help us better understand what we're asking for, which we will come back. We'll narrow down the process, having reviewed some applications, and go through a little interview process with some of the folks, the faces you see here. And we'll ask you again. We'll ask you to take us through this story. So one way or the other, we're gonna come back to you for that. So think about it. Start thinking about it as you apply.
Great. And so that's our overview of the challenge, what's involved in it, different entities that are part of it, and the application. Again, this is sort of that key link for you. If you want to ask questions, you can send them to us here and we'll get back to you. Again, the deadline is next Tuesday, the 26th. I'll leave this up for a few minutes if anyone wants, just so you have all these things, and we'll send a follow-up email as well. But now we want to hear from you. So what are the questions that you have about the application process, about the program itself? Please let us know, and put them in the chat or raise your hand, and we're excited to kind of hear what you're thinking about. Let's see. I see one hand raised. Do you want to unmute and ask your question?
Hi. I just have a couple of questions, especially because you said that there's no copyright or IP or anything like that. What's in it for you, and what's in it for us?
Yeah, that's a great question. So really broadly, we, coming from the NYC Media Lab side, we really are focused, as Aubrey mentioned, on making this connection between academia academia and industry and supporting innovation and kind of being in the middle of that process. So we want to support new applications of emerging technology, and we want to sort of learn from being part of that process as well and kind of spread those learnings out to our community. So that's what we're really excited about doing. You know, Freddie, if you want to jump in from kind of the Bertelsmann side. Yeah.
So from the Bertelsmann side, I think, I'm actually not a technology person. I work in human resources. And we developed our relationship with the Media Lab when we were working on an initiative to do a data science rotational program, and it spawned into something that's completely different. So I think going back to the comment I made before, we like bringing this external energy into the organization, but also what's in it is maybe there is some earth-shattering idea where we say, hey, this is really interesting. Maybe we should have our investment folks look at purchasing this. Maybe there's projects that we could do together once this technology is advanced or your projects are advanced a little bit further. And we're also building lifelong relationships. So I think that's the way to put it in, because it's not thinking about this just for today in the 8 weeks that we're doing this challenge. This is a lifelong relationship with us, with our organization, with our executives. And this is unprecedented access that you wouldn't get in any other way or shape or form. So I think it's trying to look at it where I think it's a win-win-win across the board, if you will.
Exactly.
Did that answer the question for you?
Freddie, just to agree with you, it's fully about discovery. I think if you think about it, we all kind of exist in our own little bubbles, and we otherwise don't have these entry points sometimes to see what like amazing young startups are doing, unless they kind of fall in our lap, so to speak, or we have these calls to action. So, I mean, if you think about it on our end, we get access to you, and that's equally as exciting as you getting access to us. So, I mean, I think it's a very symbiotic relationship, so to speak. All right, sorry, Matt, back to you.
No, those are all great, great additions. Thank you. Does that answer your question and sort of give you a sense of why we're all excited for this challenge and to work with these teams?
Yeah, that gives me a little more clarity. And if I understand you right, then this is about you searching for potential, but not like the winner gets to be included or something like that.
Yeah. There's no, there's not a definitive endpoint where, one team ends up with a certain investment or something like that. It's really about building relationships with all the teams. And then there's a lot of different directions that things can go from there.
Awesome.
Great.
Thank you.
Other questions, clarifications?
Well, people are thinking of questions. Let me add also that one of the things a lot of teams, notably, this is not a year-long program. This is not any of other forms of incubators and accelerators intentionally. We want somebody to be very thoughtful, very structured on coming in and being able to move the needle in some way, shape, or form. So it's for folks that really need a little more structure. They need some of the support that is also not necessarily AI. You're farther along in terms of needing a business model or marketing concept, et cetera. So it's a lot of teams also find that they can really drive the technology and the concept, and we'll do that together. But then it comes back to also some of the softer things that really make it a sustainable solution. So lots of people look for different things, and that's where I think we provide a lot more within the framework of where this happens to be going.
Great.
And we have Benjamin Solons, who's in our chat, who's also on the line, just in case. He was a participant last year and put some other points into the chat around what he found was valuable from his team's perspective. So thank you for that.
My pleasure, and I'm very happy to hear some familiar voice. So great to hear and see you. You cannot see me. I would put the camera, but again, anyone that would love to have like insider's vision, again, I really recommend the program.
Great. Thank you, Benjamin. Other questions? What are you all wondering about, or clarifications that you're looking for? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Mick. I have a question. In your description, you mentioned solutions for on the production and on the processes side. Are you guys looking for the consumer-facing or marketing-facing solutions as well?
Yeah, we're really open to projects and applications from a whole range of applications. So certainly, yeah, we welcome that.
I mean, storytellers want their stories to be seen and heard. So creating that, using AI to create that connection with an audience or distributor or an intermediary that's going to help push it and or market support, et cetera, is absolutely critical. And to be fair to everybody in the generative AI world, there are controversial conversations that we're probably going to have around what's ethical within AI. And there might be easier conversations to have where AI is enabling a creative process as well as it is AI being part of it. So we would welcome the concept around marketing generation, audience generation, et cetera.
And as I'm still on this topic, like another follow-up question, do you think like through you guys we will have access to content creators? Like, for example, let's talk about an author. Do we need to come into the program with a product with our own author? Or, you can give recommendations for who to use, for example, in Random House?
I think, Makita, we could probably make those introductions. And I think Stacking the Deck, Makita is well versed with our organization as he previously worked here. So we'll give the disclaimer for him. But he's doing really exciting, badass things right now. So I think, yes, I think we can always do it. And that's part of what we try to look at the program for. How can we connect you with these ideas to see if there's something we can experiment more deeply with? Especially if that's going to help you in your growth. And that's what this is all about. It's making those connections, having those great discussions, and let's see where it leads.
Sounds good. Thanks, Freddie.
Great. Let's see, other questions. See a question from Lynn. I'm curious, when you mentioned an AI motion picture that needs more elements and input, sort of what you might mean by elements and input there, if that's sort of feedback on the motion picture and things like that. I'll say in particular, it sounds like there's definitely a lot of elements of this project. We'd need to, know more, of course, but that could be a match for this. One thing is, for this challenge in particular, we're really looking for projects that are based around a tool or technology rather than projects that are based around a particular piece of storytelling or IP. So I think in this case, we'd probably want to focus on, and you might want to focus on in the application, some of the tools that are behind that production process and sort of how you're using AI and how that could be applied to creating like a new range of projects in particular. So hopefully that helps clarify. Yeah.
We've been working with DID in Israel. It's a long way away from here, but they've been collaborating with us in creating this project, and we want to expand the project, and we want to add elements to partner. And they've been very excited about our project. They featuring a project on their website, and I wrote a case study for them, and they're marketing it. And so they're about to do a presentation in the metaverse on the Cube. So we're at a not a beginner stage, but we're sort of in the stage where we're doing an outreach for more partners and more elements to bring into the project, because DID has certain capacities, but doesn't have a full range of all the AI capacities that we were hoping to put into the project.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a little more sense. I mean, again, I would say it sounds like it could be an interesting match, and we'd have to see more sort of in the application.
Okay.
I think one direction I would encourage you in is, if there's tech partners that you're kind of working with at DID or sort of elsewhere on the team, I would speak with them about getting them involved as far as like having some of those people with the tech background in your team member list for the application. So that would be sort of probably the best configuration for an application for this project.
Okay, yeah, we've been working with the Cube too. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They are like a second life project, a virtual universe. And so they're very interested. They are working with us as well. So I could bring them into the project team.
Okay.
That's good, fits your protocols?
Yes. Yeah. I think broadly that sounds like it's within the range. I mean, obviously these tools don't sort of exist in isolation. So there's connections between, you can be using AI towards applications in the metaverse and all these things. That for this one in particular, we're really wanting there to be a primary focus on the AI side of things and the opportunities and capacities sort of enabled by that. But it's going to be touching other sides of what you're working on as well. So
exactly. So DID and we worked with Midjourney and DID combined, and now we're trying to see what it would look like in the metaverse. So we're experimenting, pioneering, as it were.
Yeah. No, that's exciting.
As a comparable, one of our challenge participants last season with one of our ASCAP challenge is a volumetric studio. And they produced, in the time frame that we had, they took their platform and were able to do other components with it, add different elements, wound up producing a couple of shorts, et cetera, that were adjacent to it, just to show, and again, to be part of that conversation. Where can this go? How can this group of people bounce off of it? And where can we all go together? So I think, Lynn, you're right in the middle of this.
Exactly. Oh, great. So I'm familiar with New York City Media Lab from the Justin's era. I guess Justin moved on.
Yes, he did. He's still around NYU, but he's not too, so we've got him arm's length, but.
Yeah.
And the academic part of this project, I mean, I'm a professor at NYIT, that's how I got involved, but do you want the university materially involved or what?
If to be frank, since I'm coming from academia here, and if it doesn't slow things down and it adds something to what an academic approach is versus what we see you doing and building, et cetera, absolutely. And if there's ways to do it individually or a person would have, but to be more efficient, I will say it that way. It really depends on what you're proposing there.
So the academic is by choice.
By choice.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And we'll be sort of creating that link as well, but we're always excited to have people who are kind of coming from that background and kind of bridge some of the expertise there.
Right. The project we're working on has an educational element to it, so that is always, an ed tech element to it. So that's always important.
And that could be interesting as well, because one group that's not participating, at least now, I mean, we can always bring them in or connect, but we do have an education division where predominantly what we're looking at from an education standpoint is Bertelsmann is we're doing educational endeavors within the healthcare industry.
Right. Well, this is a history project we're working on. How do you teach history? How do you teach, using the chat bot, for example, and that's what we're exploring. And how do you mix, AI and chatbot and teaching, and that's what we're exploring that too.
Yeah, and there's some other intersections too. There's an initiative called the Bertelsmann Next Initiative, where we're investing in other elements of healthcare as well. So it could be worth taking a look at that, but there is relevance. I think we probably just have to take a closer look at the totality of the applications that come in. And then what we always try to do is just build out something that's nice, diverse, because I think last year we hit 3 different points, and it was great bringing in a diverse team from the Bertelsphere just to talk through these things. And then Robert brought in some amazing speakers. We just had great dialogue, great relationships, and everybody's still keeping in touch.
Yep.
No, I remember that period with Justin. He did great things with the NY Media Lab.
Great. Thanks, Lynn. I see a question from Joy here in the chat about skill sets for teams. In general, it's really going to depend on the team and what you're up to, but I would say one core thing with the focus on technology is we do want your team to have that tech capacity. So we want you to be able to respond and kind of iterate and move your project in, different directions as we kind of explore these applications in the creative industries. And to do that, you'll sort of need to have that tech skill as part of your team. That could mean a lot of different things to a lot of different projects. So I don't want to be super prescriptive, but that's sort of going to be a key background. And we will be looking for sort of balanced teams as well. And we'll want to make sure that based on the team members that you have in your application, that it's sort of a realistic match for kind of what you're working on and what you're wanting to develop over the course of the challenge. And Joy, let me know if that didn't fully answer things, Joy. I hope that gives you sort of a good starting point for what we're looking for. And I see a question for you, Freddie. Wanting to know more about more about Bertelsmann Healthcare and sort of what division that might fall under.
So this is probably actually just clarifying that there's 2 areas. So within our education division, for example, we have an organization called Relias Learning, and Relias Learning does a learning management system for healthcare professionals, think nurses' aides, nurses' assistants on different elements of process administration. But then we also have another initiative called Bertelsmann Next. And what Bertelsmann Next is doing is they're investing in healthcare companies. So maybe think of things with medical records, maybe spreading out payments for healthcare. So right now, it's not necessarily a division yet. It's just an endeavor from the Bertelsmann Investments Group. So if you go online and you look at Bertelsmann Investments and some of the things that they're up to now, you'll see that, and you'll see some of the significant investments that we made recently. But it's all so new that even I haven't had too much involvement. I only deal with the investment guys. So I haven't dealt with anybody that's in the businesses or any of the businesses that we might have recently acquired the past few weeks or months. Hopefully that answers that.
Great. Okay. Other questions? All right. I'll give one more minute here, but maybe we can start wrapping up. Although this is a great chance, if there is something just on the tip of your tongue, to get a quick answer. If you have other things that come up as you're working on the application or as you're sort of reading through program materials or reflecting, feel free to reach out, and we're happy to clarify and get back to you about any elements of the application process. And otherwise, I think we can move towards wrapping up. Thank you all so much for your interest in this. Really glad to have you all join us today. And this is a challenge we're really excited about. As you can tell from what Freddie and Robert have talked about, from some of the past challenges, there's been a lot of really interesting work that's come out of that, and a really great just connection between the cohort and connection with Bertelsmann. There's just so many exciting resources to connect with and interesting people at Bertelsmann that we're excited to, tap the challenge teams into as part of this. So please get your applications going. You'll have until end of day on the 26th, just as a final reminder. Thanks from me, and thanks Freddie, Robert, and Aubrey for being here and adding additional info about what we're up to. Follow up with questions, and have a good day, everyone. Thank you.